Hi, teacher.
Morning, how are you? Well, afternoon for you, no? What time is it now in China for you?
Before going to class, I went to the library and now I'm in a restaurant.
Oh, okay. And what time is it now?
Now uh, I'm in the restaurant and to drink a milk.
Okay. But what is the time? What time is it?
What time is it?
Mm-hmm.
This is um, it is in the 12,
It's 12?
12,
12 in, okay, so 12 in the
in 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. Okay. Okay, so I didn't know because I said good morning, but I didn't know what time it was there. So yeah, so it's 12. So that means so it's 7 o'clock now. Well, almost 7 o'clock in Spain. So that's why I said good morning. So okay, so you're in a restaurant now. So is there anything that you want to talk about today?
Teacher decide.
Okay, so I was thinking of talking um, about drugs and and alcohol too. Okay, so in your opinion, do you think China has a problem with with drugs and alcohol?
Mm, near, uh, near me, I don't find that, but I know have something about that. I think Chinese have this problem.
Where?
But I think China have this problem, but
Okay,
I don't attach this problem.
okay,
But I read some problems in the newspaper.
right. So this being an interesting, well, I think it's interesting topic or an interesting subject because of your medical studies. So, what are some of the effects? What are some of the effects of, or the negative, let's say, the negative effects of drug abuse or alcohol abuse? What are some of the negative effects?
Um, just I think the I think that is some safety of a city safety will be attacked. Some people if they drink alcohol or have a drug, they will can't control themselves and they will make some bad things happen. Like to the 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 mild thing is to make themselves hurt and the serious thing is that to make other people hurt and
Mm-hmm.
or something. I know if they have more drugs or drinks, and they will have um, honey. That is uh, imagine something panic and will hurt any other people.
Okay, so they will have hallucinations. Hallucinations. Okay. So like illusions, no? Like they see things that are not real. Okay. Right, and they can hurt people. Right. I think that is probably one of the most negative effects of drugs and alcohol abuse. Yeah. So China does have a problem. Um, so what is China doing about the problem? What are some of the solutions?
Um, with the illegal, that is the illegal thing. So the police will to catch them and to make them in the jail, prison, and to change them, but that has some guards, GRADE, that have some guards, every guard have different measures. If you have if have a serious guard, someone will be killed.
Mm-hmm. So drug dealers are put in prison, no? So putting drug dealers in prison, do you think this is a good punishment in a way? Do you think it's a good punishment for drug dealers?
I think that is a good punish. Because if there I think that is good thing, because some people have drugs. It's from the drug dealers. I think the drug dealers breaks a lot of families. And someone, if they have the drugs, and their family will break, and that is a happy family that will break. So I think that is good thing to put them in the jail or prison. If someone in China, if someone sells lots of drugs, and they will be killed.
They will be killed, right? So there's the death penalty, right? The death penalty is can be used. So this is a little different in the United States, because we don't use the death penalty for drug offenses, but the death penalty can be used in with drug dealers. I would say can be used in a case with a drug dealer. So this is it's a short article or information about Donald Trump, right, and the president of the United States, talking about China and the differences. So can you read this for me, and we can talk about it? Can you read it so I can hear?
I can hear.
Can you read it so I can hear?
Yes, I read it to teacher.
Okay, perfect.
President Donald Trump on Friday said that China doesn't have a drug problem, and suggested that the U.S. should emulate its harsh drug regulation tactics. But data from China tells a different story. Trump spoke in the White House Rose Garden Friday to announce that they will declare a national immigrants to secure funding a border wall without control approval. During the address, Trump also spoke about the ongoing substance epidemic in U.S. and referred to conversations he had with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, who Trump said told him that China didn't have a drug problem because it could use the death penalty to punish drug dealers.
Perfect. Okay, so there's some vocabulary that we can talk about in this article, in this short piece. But first, what is this talking about? If you had to summarize, what is this saying? It's about the drug problem and
the American president thinks that if they have some death, if they have the death penalty as a drug dealers, and the drug problems will lead will disease and disappear.
Right. So, do you agree with this? Do you think that that's correct? That if the U.S. had the death penalty for drug dealers, that this would eliminate the problem?
I don't agree that because I think different countries have their different measure to resolve their problems. Because different countries' rules is different. They will look environment to make a rule to adapt their country.
Good. That's a really good answer. I agree. I think that it's different countries will do different things, right? In your opinion, do you think the death penalty is harsh? Do you think it's a harsh penalty for drug dealers?
I don't think that is harsh because something, if you don't make a death punish, that is unfair to some people. They were hurt. That is don't. That is don't. That is unfair. That is unfair.
It's unfair. Why is it unfair?
Yes, in China, we have an old say that is if you make someone die or someone hurt, and you must use your life to I think one life for another.
Okay.
One life, yes.
Okay.
If you make other people hurt, and will be punished equal.
Okay. So, in your opinion, what is an appropriate punishment then for drug dealers? What do you think would be appropriate or equal, right?
No, I think that is to measure their 是要跟that is I think that is it depends on the degree.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Yes. Example, in China, the drugs have some degree, and if you're in the low degree, and you will be punished 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But if you have some degrees in the high, and you will be make die. You will be die. That is depend on the drug number.
Okay, so you'll be given the death penalty depending on the degree of the intensity of the crime. No, like how for example, right? So for example, I am a drug dealer and I was selling, I don't know, thousands and thousands of drugs. That's different from someone who maybe sold drugs one time or two times, right? Maybe that's a little different. So yeah, it depends on the intensity of in a degree. Yeah. So, um, so yeah, so this is a little different than the U.S., right? The U.S. we don't in the United States we don't have the death penalty for drug dealers. Do you think? I think I know the answer, but do you think that other countries should immolate each other? Using this is a good example, but do you think in general that this should be something that people copy?
I think if some people and I think emulate each other it's a good thing. But if sometimes in the internet in the international lots of countries or a big part of countries can have a common degree, have a common uh, have a common consensus
Mm-hmm.
and consensus and so- and the cooperation to beat the hug to beat the hug declares that will uh, that will be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So this is something that I think is always difficult, like you said before, right? That every country is different, and every country has their specific problems. But sometimes, if you see, for example, if one country sees that there's a solution that is working in one country, maybe they can try it in theirs and see if it works. That's true. Yeah, and it does. It depends on the consensus on how many people actually do feel this way. So this is a continuation of the article. It says that even the harsh punishments Trump lauded in his speech appear not to be working as intended. Last year, Chinese state councilor, how do you say this name? Xiao. How do you say this? The counselor? Xiao.
Yes, I think.
Is it Xiao KG?
The Chinese I think the problem will be control, but it don't disappear.
Okay.
Somewhere, if there have people and there will have some problems.
Mm-hmm.
Some problems is become the humans. It's from humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So if there have people and the humanity, some no one can 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 predict. No one can predict. Like that, if people they are very poor and they want to have money, but if they know something is illegal, but they can't exist. So they only have this space to do these things. They will do these things, even if it's illegal. So sometimes it's the environment to create that. And I think if someone a part can list it, is that can make someone don't make some poor people wealth, and they don't use this approach, they will believe. But the another people is, I think the another people is the wealth people. They have lots of money, and they want to have some happy. I like that. I read the newspaper. It is about the it is about the eggplant, uh, and the eggplant. Uh, Someone said that. I found that teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's accent. It's about accent.
What is it? Can you write it? What is it? Adlan?
Accent. And
Iceland?
yes, accent. And they are real, but they are also illegal. Because they want to happy and they can't control their humanity, and they make their bad to uh, uh, their bad release. So
Mm.
different people do bad things have their different reasons.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I agree.
Um,
Yeah, because it's different people are living in different countries, right? So there's a different culture, and in different cultures, there might be a solution that works for one, but not for the other, right? So it is difficult to, but of course, the death penalty, right? Using death as a penalty for a crime is a really difficult punishment, right? It's really difficult to say when someone should actually be punished by death. You know, to be punished by death is very serious because you cannot reverse that, right? Um, if someone goes to jail and they are innocent, you can take them out of jail. But if someone is killed because of the death penalty, you cannot, of course, bring them back to life. So that's difficult. But
I know.
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I I know in some American states have don't have die punish. So I think to actual um to abolish the death is easy, but to set it is more difficult.
Right. So to abolish this is possible, but it's yeah, absolutely. And in some states, in the United States, there is no death penalty. They have abolished it. That's true. Do you think China will ever abolish the death penalty, or do you think this is a common practice? Do you think China will abolish the death penalty in the future, for example?
I think no.
Mm.
No, it is. Mm, um, that is impossible. Because if somewhere people, I know Chinese is a developing country. It's not a developed country,
Mm.
and the human quality it can't it can't it can't um, and can't reach some level. They must be they must be uh, they must be constrained. That is they can they must be restrained by legal, um, because human quality can't attach, and the civilization is not very developed, and so I think that is impossible in China.
Do people think that it is humane to? So, for example, is there a controversy over the death penalty? So, for example, in the United States, there is a lot of controversy over the death penalty, and some people do not think it's humane, and other people think that it is a necessary part of the penal system. So, it's the way to punish someone. What do you think? Do you think there's controversy in China?
Mm, I think that to talk about the humanity, it's based on country safe. If country safe or a part of people's powers can't be ensured, to talk about humanity, it's it's useless. Um, and I think the country established is safe. So um, I uh, I uh, I make a lecture to teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Metaphor.
Have two countries people. The one country that is in the war, they must ensure their life don't they must ensure they don't die. But if here in the developed country, like the one in the Iraq and the another in the America, the Iraq children don't think will ensure their life don't die, and but in the American children, they want to their study good. So I think the um, the humanity is based it's based on the safety on a part on a big part of people's power. It's not little people's power, and the government must to ensure a part of people, then to ensure the humanity. In China, I think humanity is about morality. It's about it's in the morality. The moralier, the moralier is uh, is here higher than the illegal. Than the legal. The legal is um, the legal is baseline. It's baseline. If you can reach the baseline, then you can talk moderately.
Okay. So that's a really interesting perspective, because the morality is more important than the legal. But in a lot of cases, shouldn't the legal be a reflection of the morality of the country, right? So if something is legal or illegal, there should be a reflection. But sometimes it's not, right? So there's the noun and then the adjective, right? So humanity and morality, and then humane and moral. Okay, so like for example, some people do not think that it is moral or humane to have the death penalty. So that's a good way to use it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's see. One more question then. So we talked about the solution, right? So what some of the solutions. In the future, do you think that China will continue to have a drug problem? In the future?
I think that it will have the Chinese that is I think that is it's not a good thing. And in the future it's also a good thing, but in the past Chinese Chinese the the Chinese, the course of the modernization, it becomes the truck. The yes, the the optional in the Qing dynasty. So the thing is not a good thing, but it can promote or attract history, and something happen in the sometimes it will have their own meaning, can affect can can play its role.
That's true. That's very true. It depends on the history. Absolutely. I think that's a good point because the U.S. has the same problems too. Yeah, and it will continue because of the modernization. That's good. Really, really good conversation. Very interesting. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more on Thursday. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Talk to you then.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.